It's the Magnificent. So, Martin?
Well, yes. There's quite a nice mix of things going on in this game. You've got the Tetris-y stuff going on here. You've got a lot of things about setting up your performances. There's quite a lot of different things to juggle and kind of put together, which is nice. But I don't know. It's not a game I feel excited about. It's we use this phrase, a fine game. I mean, it is a good game. I quite enjoy playing it, but it doesn't have the bit of pizzazz that I normally go for.
Why do you think that is?
It's a good question, and I was thinking about this because I obviously did the practice game just over a week or so ago. And I was interesting. I was comparing it in my mind to a couple of similarly felt games that we've done recently, in particular the Yin Yang. I think I preferred Yin Yang because it was a bit simpler. You had the similar juggling of different things, but there were less things to juggle, so you could kind of get your hands over it, and it was easier to teach. And I tend to feel that weight has to have a payoff, and the extra weight here didn't have so much of a payoff. Also, the map in Yin Yang meant you were really having to deal with other people a lot. And here I felt it was a bit more easy to not pay much attention to what everybody else was doing and kind of do your own thing. And that may have been because I'm just not very good at it and wasn't able to watch what you were doing while trying to figure out my own thing, or it could be just this is a bit more of that simultaneous solitaire, which some people prefer, but I tend to prefer a game where you've got a bit more interaction.
I mean, there's some interaction with the travel, right? But that's, I feel, insignificant.
Yeah.
Then there is the choosing of the cards there, so that can have a small impact on things. But the big thing would be the taking of the dice. But I feel like with the clear dice, it gives you enough of a workaround to where I don't ever feel like anything that y'all are doing is getting in my way, really, that I can't navigate around, right? And this kind of harkens back to why I don't like Feast for Odin, whereas I much prefer, Caverna versus Agricola, that type thing, to where it's a lot more wide open. I prefer a lot more constricted.
Yep.
And I like that pressure, and I like that direct interaction of, and a lot of people will call it negative interaction, of the things that you do are going to absolutely impact what I do, whereas here, it was a lot more open. That said, I don't think that's the intent of this game. I think that this game is an engine builder,
right,
to where everything feels pretty good. It has a positive reinforcement aspect to this game that I don't think they're trying to go for that constricted feel.
Right.
They're going for that more wide open, which that's perfectly fine. I think it's a very successful game in what it's trying to do. Does that mean it's a solid hit for me? No. I feel like ultimately it's fine. Exactly as we said. It flows well, and it's all about comboing up and chaining your things together and manipulate. And I like the way the dice drafting goes. But ultimately, for me, I want something a little more constricted and a little bit more interactive.
Yeah, if I'm going to have a multiplayer solitaire game, I want the puzzle to be crazy difficult. I want the puzzle to be hard, to push back against me. Pipeline, I think, does that well. Tricurion does that, obviously, pretty well. This doesn't push back at you. It's just like, yeah, go ahead, get the points. I was not doing well, and I still ended up doing well. It doesn't make sense to me. None of the actions I took were efficient, were really well thought out or well planned, and I still kind of just did okay. Maybe I'm missing something, but efficiency engine games, I feel, should be... I should be able to screw up and lose hard, not just lose okay. Does that make? I don't know if that makes sense.
I think that's fair, but again, it all depends on what the design intent, right? just because we might not specifically, we want that bigger tension, we want that more constricted pushback from the game. I don't think that's what this is after. So I don't think that's a failing of the game. I think it's not what it is necessarily that we want it to be. And I don't think that's the game's fault, necessarily.
I think part of that...
at all, actually.
I think part of that has to do with I don't feel a good connection between all of the parts. This is like the opposite of Formosa T, where I felt like every action kind of worked with each other. There's 3 very basic actions that I don't know if any of the mini games are cohesive for me.
I think that's a fair criticism of it, or a fair viewpoint on it. And I'll be honest, at no point did it feel like I was putting on performances.
Right. No, the theme didn't come through at all for me. It was even barely the setting. I mean, it really did feel very, very abstract.
The obvious comparison to me, because, you have performances and whether or not it's magic or not, whatever, is Tricarian. The games have nothing in common outside of that loosely applied theme between the two of them, and the weight is completely different. But again, I don't think that this game is trying to do that. It's not trying to supplant Tricarian. I think anybody that makes that comparison, that's a ill-informed comparison, and that's going simply on a loose comparison of the theme. So Aporta Games, they previously had done Santa Maria for their big game, if you will, or the big one that comes to mind at least. This feels like exactly that weight of game to me, which is perfectly fine. It's a solid midweight Euro.
Yeah.
I think they were successful in what they were trying to do, but the question is it more compelling to you than it is anything else that falls within that dice drafting, mid-range, solid Euro?
I mean, you didn't like Trois. I like Trois. I still have not played a dice drafting game that has made me want to play again more than Trois.
Okay, fair. How about you?
Literally the exact same words. Like, I'd much rather play Trois over this.
I enjoyed the puzzle aspect of this, and I will say this, and I think this is a good sign, that I have enjoyed the game incrementally more every time I've played it. The first time I played it, I was like, the meh instead of the magnificent. The second time I played it, I was like, okay, yeah. The third time I played it, which is now this, I've enjoyed it more. So because I wasn't not looking forward to playing tonight or streaming this, I just wasn't excited about it. Am I going to be excited to play this again? Not terribly. But again, for me, 3 plays on a game, that's fine. I'm good with that. And then we're on to the next one because of the show.
Right.
But I think we did the game a justice in a sense that we showed off what the game is capable of. We showed all aspects except for the flip side of the player boards. And other than that, yeah, what you see is what you get. And I think, like I said, it was a success in that regards, but yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, and I should point, the engine building bit was quite nice. You did get a sense of you're able to do a lot more each round, and that's, I think, a sign of a good engine builder, right? You can do things in the final round that you couldn't imagine would even be possible in the first round. Yeah. That was good.
When we first got this at the table, I was like, wait, 3 rounds? How the hell am I supposed to do all? Oh, right, okay. As you get better, you
really multiply.
Right, totally. Yep.
But as I said, there's a lot of good engine builders out there, and it's also not my style really to have a game that's very much the individual puzzle, and it has to be something that has to really click and be special to get my attention for that. And I'm actually puzzling to think of any game that I know well that has click. I could imagine Pipeline clicking. I need to play it a bit more, but on the whole, I just like to be interacting. I don't like to be in a situation where you can plan your move out too many moves in advance. I want
without the other players.
I want those plans to be foiled. Probably because I'm too lazy to plan out several moves in advance, and I'd much rather react on the feet because that's the kind of person I am. I like reacting to events rather than trying to plan things out. As anybody who knows my professional side will probably recognise that inclination.
Being more, wait for it, agile?
Exactly. Yeah. Well done. You got that.
There's definitely merits in both. I definitely like predicting what other players are doing, and I feel like I had a good grasp on what Edward was trying to do the whole game, but at no point could I go, wait, no.
Stop. No. And I'll be honest. So I had my butt handed to me by Joe Huber in my second game of this. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try that. Worked pretty well. Would not worry about performances early.
Right.
Build up your infrastructure and get ready to just hammer out a lot of performances in the second half of the game.
Which I definitely should have done, because the first round I was like, ooh, I got 20 points. Great. Yeah, well, it didn't help, because that second round I was just slogging through.
Right. It should be about that build up, which it does a good job of.
So. Yeah, I got a bit sort of distracted on the money thing, and I think that led me astray to a large extent. Good question that came out over there was comparing this to Black Angel, which I've played also a couple of times. I would give this the plus over Black Angel. To me, Black Angel was even more weight with no greater payback. And so I would prefer this. So again, I have this thing where if you're going to add more weight to a game, you've got to give me a payback for it.
Oh, 100%.
And that payback means typically theme, it means something about the excitement and energy, and I felt no more excited about Black Angel than I do about this, and Black Angel's heavier. So this is the better game, is the way I look at that logic.
Yeah, considering this was 2 hours plus with the teach.
Yeah, like this is a 90-minute game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, if I was to take that into consideration. I haven't played Black Angel, but I also don't have any interest in it. I've had opportunities here and pass them up because it just doesn't look appealing to me.
So, Fuchsia Angel, as I call it, which I appreciate what Ian O'Toole did with that as far as bringing color to space. So I've played both of them a number of times now, and I'm thinking about this. They're both dice drafting games. That's actually a really, really good question. I'm kind of hedging a little bit, but let's put it this way. I think Martin's pretty close to spot on here because I think it's close between which I would prefer, whether it's Black Angel or whether it's this. That requires a heavier brain burn investment. The Black Angel, as well as a larger time investment. Not to mention the teach is much more involved than this is. So it's definitely more complex, but is the payoff there? I don't know that it is. So for my feeling, I think I agree with you that you put a gun to my head. I think I would rather play this as a dice drafter than Black Angel. I think. I would have to think on that a little bit more, but it's close either way, which then you're talking about the time investment, brain burn investment, as well as teach investment. Where do you get the bigger payoff? So, yeah.
The theme is a bit better in Black Angel. There is a much more sense of a theme in Black Angel than this. So if theme matters to you, then I think that would be significant.
Yeah, I think theme matters a good enough amount, but it still feels pasted on in Black Angel.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's a super strong theme, but this to me the theme-wise just completely fell flat for me.
Yeah,
this really did feel like it could have been absolutely anything.
So, and that's good. So here's a perfect example of why these playthroughs I think are value added for folks, for the fact that you just heard what all of us were like. No, it's fine. Okay. Whereas some folks in the chat were like, it's definitely going to be a hit for me and my wife. Can't wait to pick this up. Perfect. Because just because we might disagree doesn't mean what we say
Yeah.
in our opinion on it. That's why we present the game and let you guys make the informed decisions.
Yeah,
these-
different games for different people.
Yeah, otherwise there'd be one game, right?
Yeah.
All these playthroughs and all these reviews, they're just tools to make a better decision.
There you go.
Yeah.
So mission.
And hopefully our conversation gives you things to think about as to, oh, well, will this appeal to my game group? And because at least we're surfacing things to bear in mind.
Right.
So if you've got a game group that really loves interaction, you're not going to like this. If you've got a game group that really hates interaction, then this becomes more of an interesting game.
I think so. All right, so there we go. That is the Magnificent. So thanks everybody for joining us, both live as well as after the fact. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget, like and subscribe down below. It helps the show. It also helps you guys get notified whenever we go live.